But yep,
Yeah.
you free.
Right.
You
Maine.
always out.
Yeah.
Me always
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
always out.
All right. Welcome to the very first episode of Laced Up. This is a show all about sneakers and sneaker news. I'm your host today, Chase, with my co-host Landon, and today we have a jam-packed show for you. We're going to be talking about Nike getting into the Metaverse, potentially the weirdest Adidas collab yet, and then StockX signing with women's basketball player Paige Buckets on $1 million deal and a few more. But we're going to start off a little bit more chill with Jaylen Brown becoming a sneaker-free agent. So the Boston Celtics forward Jaylen Brown is a sneaker-free agent after his deal with Adidas has expired. He has been seen wearing New Balances, Under Armour, and Nikes on the court, and Brown said he is looking for a shoe company that is progressive, cutting edge, and keeps an open mind. Landon, who do you think he's going to be signing with next?
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting to see Jaylen Brown on the market now. Like he said, I mean, he wants to sign someone who's like progressive. So, the easy answer would be Nike. The thing is, Jaylen Brown isn't like a, top tier basketball player yet. Definitely a superstar, but I could easily see him signing with Puma. The only problem is that it's not on his list of shoes that he's been wearing because Puma has signed like a bunch of young talent. LaMelo Ball has a shoe coming out soon. My only issue with him signing with Nike is that with them being such a major brand, if he wants a signature shoe, it may take him a while to get that. So Under Armour would be cool. I think that'd be sweet because Curry's my favorite player, so it never hurts to kind of add to some of the hype to that brand. But, I would say Puma or New Balance if he wants to really cement that signature shoe. But other than that, I mean, Nike, he just left Adidas. Nike's like kind of the big brother to Adidas whenever it comes to basketball. So I'm kind of interested to see what shakes out there.
Yeah, like when I was reading this article and I saw that he's kind of saying that he wants a progressive shoe deal, I'm always leaning towards Nike. But the thing is, if Jaylen Brown wants to become like a Jaylen Brown signature shoe, I really don't think that's going to be actually happening with Nike. I think Nike would just put him on a typical model and then just have him do some colorways with it. So hopefully he doesn't really sign with Nike. I mean, Nike's got everyone else. I really want him to go with someone else like Puma. I think that'd be a good touch. But I mean, currently he's not even wearing the shoes, so I don't know, if he's even going to be even thinking about that. But
right.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're thinking. But moving on, what do we got next, Landon?
Yeah, so moving on, we're going to be looking at John Geiger response to Nike sneaker knockoff lawsuit. So, sneaker designer John Geiger is looking to exit a legal battle that he was pulled into this summer, asking a California court to dismiss a complaint from Nike that names him as the defendant. So, Nike kind of claims that, his like La La Land GF01 sneakers are a lookalike to the Air Force One and that he's profiting off of Nike's designs. Geiger's like an independent designer. He's kind of cited some struggles with like mental health and kind of battling that. He just wants this all to come to an end. But even with that, he has been on record saying that him and his legal team are still more than willing to continue with this process if Nike kind of refuses to drop it, because he doesn't sound like he's super convinced that this should even be happening. He doesn't believe that they're all that similar. It's always going to be tough for me to side with the bigger brand like Nike whenever it comes to, there's no shortage of money coming into their pockets. Like, I don't really think this affects them all that much, at least, not to the extent that it affects John Geiger. And, there is a small case to be made that they look a little bit similar. You can kind of see if you put it right next to an Air Force One, a little bit of the outsole is kind of similar. It's got a somewhat similar upper as well, but he kind of put his own spin on it. It's got his own design. It's not the Nike swoosh, obviously, anything like that. But, it's tough for me to side with the big brand. I mean, we're small. Nike can just put whoever they want, just assign one of their million employees just to go and deal with this case. But this is kind of taking up all of his headspace, all of his time for his brand, which is a smaller brand anyway. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this article, kind of hearing about it?
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're going with that, and I will have to agree. Like, it almost seems like every single week now that Nike is kind of like pushing on these smaller companies and these smaller collaborators. And personally, like you said, that I don't see the difference. It's close. I think what the issue is the John Geiger colorway is a triple white, and then it happens to be that Nike's Air Forces is also have a triple white. So I think that's where the real issue is. But I don't know. I'm kind of just sick of Nike picking on the little guys.
Oh, they've been in lawsuits all over the place. Lil Nas X.
Yeah,
that one, I mean, if he didn't have their permission, I can kind of see where they got mad about that. But
yeah, but
what's the other one?
I mean,
Warren Lotus.
Warren Lotus, yeah, definitely that one. I mean, Nike got that one right,
Yeah.
but I think Nike's like once they knew that they could get Warren Lotus, like now they're just going for everyone.
I
So
mean, a bunch of brands have kind of gotten picked on by Nike, but like Skechers, I mean, they went through it a little bit too with some of the shoes they put out.
yeah,
Looked
but
like
those were
some
like
270s.
purposeful. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like not everything garners the same, full attention. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. He put the request in. He's hoping it gets approved. So if it
Right.
does, it'll get dropped. Otherwise, I mean, he's already spent probably a ton of money on this anyways. He's just ready for it to come to an end. I don't
Yeah.
blame him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, shout out to him and hopefully his legal team, and hopefully they get it resolved throughout the court
Sure.
system, and he doesn't hopefully lose everything to Nike. But I mean, you never know.
brands have probably had it happen before.
Oh yeah, but
so.
Speaking of Nike, let's move on to the next article. We got Nike entering into the Metaverse. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, basically what it is Nike is going to be going into the NFT space, the crypto space, kind of that whole digital sneaker world. So Nike has begun filing trademark applications for the swoosh logo and the Jordan logos in digital form. Last year, Nike received a patent for the crypto kicks, and that would allow each pair of the physical shoes to be sold and attached with a digital version of the shoe. So basically what that means is if you buy like an Air Force One, you'd be able to get a digital version of that Air Force One. So I'm going to leave it up to you, Landon. Would you ever buy a digital version for a sneaker for your avatar?
This space is so beyond anything I've ever even thought of, because I'm not like into like the whole crypto. I'm not into like any of the currencies and stuff like that. It took me forever to get Venmo. I was like, what is Venmo? But like this stuff is so beyond me. I don't know what is the purpose. What is the purpose of getting a digital shoe? I can't wrap my mind around that.
So what I'm going to say to you is, this is how I'm going to explain it to you, is basically, you play Fortnite,
Oh, okay, we're bringing
right.
Fortnite in.
Okay, so you bought skins on Fortnite, right?
I bought skins on Fortnite.
All right. Would you buy a skin of the shoe that you just bought? For instance, like if you had, the off-whites right there, right? You bought the off-whites, you got the off-whites in hand. Now you have a digital version and you can actually add it to your Fortnite player.
Oh, that's what this is?
That's what that is.
Wait a second. I didn't know that it was all compatible like that.
It's going to get compatible.
I don't know. Because like I personally enjoy having physical shoes in my possession.
Right.
Am I willing to spend money on something that is going to just go like, in that specific instance, I play Fortnite. I'm not a Fortnite player. Like
right.
I'll play it if I got free time, which has like every other month. But I don't think I'd want to invest. How much money are we talking here? Because we're talking about something that's online. It's got to be cheap. It's got to be significantly cheaper. Or does it come with the shoe? They're just adding it on, like you purchase a shoe, get the additional.
I think it's both. So
have to pay for it.
I think what Nike's gonna do is you buy the shoe, right? It comes with a digital version. But then also, there's going to be marketplaces out there where you can buy other digital version shoes if someone just wants to sell their digital version of it. So you can go out there and let's say you aren't able to get an off-white, but you are able to get the digital version of the off-white and rock it on your avatar instead of having it in person. Bro, come on. You're going to be buying it.
I don't know. There's maybe the only shoe I'd really care to probably pay that for is my Grill, my Air Jordan, off-white Air Jordan 1 High UNC. That's like my favorite shoe. It's my favorite shoe that's been created. I don't know that I fully understand the concept. That is like, it's more the tech side, which I don't really get that deep into.
Right,
but
right.
I understand, no, I don't understand cryptocurrency. I'm not going to try and say that. But like, I understand kind of what is going on with Bitcoin and the different stuff like that, but I still don't. But they do say that it's like the next wave. That's all you hear. It's the next wave. It's kind of what things are turning into. So I guess it's one of those, I may as well start to learn about it or we're going to get left behind, the same way you can't afford to not know how to use technology in this world anymore whenever some people don't have smartphones and you don't realize that you got all this power in your hand that you're missing out on. So
it's going to get crazy, but my last 2 cents on it is it's going to be very exciting. I think it's honestly going to change the sneaker scene. I'm kind of curious that Nike's kind of entering into this metaverse first. I'm kind of seeing where, Adidas and Puma and kind of one of these smaller brands that isn't really like
Nike's going to be the first one in there.
Right.
Obviously.
But this is like the point where, Puma that isn't really too hype or like New Balance to kind of jump into that
That is true.
and get first and kind of like lay the ground of it. Like if you could start seeing like New Balance kind of go in and do it first, it would kind of change up the scene. It wouldn't, I don't know, it might actually topple Nike off its kind of pillar, but yeah.
Maybe.
But moving on,
All right, so
what's up?
I'm gonna bring us back to basketball now. So Rui Hachimura, he's just gotten his own Air Jordan 8 PE. So he's a player on the Washington Wizards who has cemented himself as a face of the league's future since getting drafted in 2019. To celebrate him, Jordan Brand has not only signed the 23-year-old to its roster, but also gifted him special editions of the Air Jordan 36. And soon enough, the Japanese native player will have his very own Air Jordan 8 launch at retail. So Rui he hasn't even made an appearance yet this season. I mean, it's not even injury related. I'm not totally sure what's going on there, but he is back with the team. He's supposed to start playing within the next few weeks. So he had a really good start to his career in Gonzaga. He was just like, he dominated college basketball, which is always a good sign. And the one cool thing about him that I think is really neat is he's one of 5 ever Japan players to play in the NBA. So that's just a super major accomplishment. So, the few different like forms of leather kind of make it onto the shoe. I'm not a huge fan of the Air Jordan 8 model. I definitely, wish it would have been a different design, like give him his own Air Jordan like 36, Air Jordan 35,
Right.
like a newer
That's what
model.
I'm
Like,
saying.
of course, he got the 36 already. Like, I think the newer models look better, especially than the Jordan 8. Like, maybe even a Jordan 7, a Jordan 6, like Jordan 1, Jordan 3, those more popular models. I don't know how. There's maybe a deeper reasoning on why he got the Air Jordan 8 model, but I didn't see it anywhere. But what do you think about this shoe? Checking it out.
Yeah,
This whole thing?
I'm looking at the picture now, and it's an okay shoe. Like you said, I don't know really why they chose a Jordan 8. Also, they're releasing it at a men's 225 retail, which is pretty high too. Like I can't remember
The
what
details are nice though. Like the details, I think there's special
R-
details for the box. They come with like some special
Right,
interior
but I mean,
details. They sometimes they bump
is
the
it
price.
is
when
it
they
a
do stuff like
collab that high for a basketball player, for just a player
It's not
exclusive?
really even a collab. I don't think they call it that whenever it's like your own athlete.
I
He's
mean,
a special signed athlete, and he's getting
okay,
his own
so
his own player exclusive. That's the
right.
PE from it.
But
But
that even reassures my point is he's not anything special. So then why is he
ooh,
getting a
that's
special price,
hey,
right?
he's 1 out of 5. I mean,
Yeah,
he
no, I
hasn't
get
done
that,
enough in the
but
NBA
in the
yet.
sneaker
If that's what you
world,
mean by that, yeah,
right?
I don't know. I don't know if he is a sneakerhead or not. Maybe he is like big into sneakers and stuff like that, which is why they give him more of a not a performance basketball shoe, and it's more of a like shoe that people still like the Air Jordan 8 model, even though I really don't. But
Right.
I'm a little confused on why they would bump the retail price up whenever the player exclusive colorways normally still go for the same
That's
price.
what I'm
I'm pretty
saying.
sure they normally retail, and I don't know what the Jordan 8 typically retails for.
It's
Because I
there's no
never,
way it's 225.
I doubt it
Absolutely
because
not.
I never. I mean, they don't like retro any of the Jordan 8s,
No,
so you don't really
it's.
see them come back around.
I mean,
So
maybe that's why
that was a
they
little
raise
bit
it up,
before. Yeah, that's
but
what I'm saying. It's a more of a unique model. They don't retro that shoe very often, but
I don't know.
it's definitely unique. It's a pretty cool shoe. I like the khaki color scheme. The details are going to be nice. It's definitely not going to be a bad release, but at 225, just for sneaker resellers out there, that probably takes the resell off the table anyways.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, well,
225, that's up there.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you said, I mean, maybe if you have some
The
connections in
details,
Japan,
the box makes a difference too. Like
maybe I don't
remember with the
know.
Powder Nike Air Max
That's
release,
true.
the box
Special box.
special box compared to just generic Jordan 8 box.
That's very
Couldn't even
true.
tell you what that comes in though. But
But
I'll go ahead and let you. We'll swing it back to you. What's your next thing you're
yeah,
checking out?
so I kind of want to talk about the Yukon's. Paige Buckets signs $1 million deal with StockX. So Paige Buckets, or better known as, well, Paige Buckets, and she's a University of Connecticut basketball player, signed a 3-year brand deal worth around $1 million with the sneaker and marketplace StockX. So Paige quotes, "My partnership with StockX is about equity and authenticity." She goes and says, "Together with StockX, I'm invested in making sure women and women athletes are prioritized." So I'm going to toss it over to you, Landon. What are your thoughts on StockX, signing ambassadors? And do you think other marketplaces like eBay or GOAT are going to follow?
Okay, so I was confused about this whole thing. I guess I'm not really sure what the deal entails. I guess she explained it a little bit. So I'm always for I guess signing and making sure that people are getting what they're paying for, right?
Right.
That was the biggest knock before eBay did that. Within the past couple of years, their authenticity thing was, fake shoes are everywhere. Some of the easy places to like, we've even dealt with a bunch of fakes coming off from Mercari and stuff like that. Just it's inevitable. Like you can get fake shoes from from a ton of different sites that are so close to replicas now. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they are such great replicas now. So I do like the idea that she's kind of making sure that people aren't getting ripped off. In a sense, that's kind of what StockX is for. It's like you send because all they are is just a third party market who just they don't sell their own stuff. They sell other people's stuff and they make sure that it's real for you. So, I
Right.
mean, obviously we've dealt with StockX and stuff like that before, but I'm just kind of curious to see what her partnership entails with StockX. But the way that you mentioned it, your specific question, I mean, eBay and Goat, they kind of definitely got to get on in on this, right? Like, why
Right.
would you allow StockX to? That's gonna bring a bunch of attention because she is like I've watched her play. She has got game.
She's legit.
She is legit. Like the only reason she's not in the WNBA is because she has to come back to college for another year. They don't have the one and done.
Really?
So, yeah. So she's back in
That's
college.
interesting.
I mean,
didn't
she
know that.
dominated. She's probably the best player in the nation last year, and she probably will be again this year. So definitely a stud. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything else. UConn's women's basketball program is
Right.
just
Oh
on
yeah.
another level. But
It's dominant.
I'm just kind of curious to see what this like deal looks like.
Well, then following it up, okay, so obviously you play basketball, right? Okay, if you were gonna sign, would you sign with eBay or would you sign with Go?
Man, Goat sounds cooler. So that's the thing.
You base
So-
it off that.
I would base it off that a little bit, but if I wanted to, I mean, I would sign with eBay because they are doing something that no one else is doing. No seller fees on shoes over $100 is out of this world. Like
It is insane.
whenever it comes to selling, like these off-whites say they're going for $1,500 because they are. These are selling for $1,500. You're losing hundreds of dollars just off of seller fees, or
Oh, yeah.
at least 50s to 80s to. And this is if you're selling regularly, like that's gonna make a huge difference. So we specifically deal most of our stuff on eBay for that reason. I mean, you can sell it at a lower price and still make money. That's what they have going for them right now. So I mean, eBay is definitely a based off of what they're doing, I would like to sign. But I mean, to answer your question, I'd go with Goat because
You still go with Go?
I would still go with
Goat.
Goat.
Over
and then I'd work with Goat and
Over
I'd be
the
like,
name.
hey, look what they're doing. You guys got to lessen the seller fees, help these guys out and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you're just like kind of an everyday person wanting to buy the shoes, the seller fees don't really bother you. You want that price as low as possible though.
Yeah.
So I mean, bringing down seller fees helps everyone except for Goat and StockX and eBay, of
Right.
course, because they're making less money.
Right.
But everyone else, I mean, benefits from it. So I'd sign with Goat. I'd try and convince them to drop the seller fees. They wouldn't listen, and I'd still be making money.
There you
But
go. Goat, if you're listening.
Hey, yeah, I am open to sponsorships.
There you go. We got a great ambassador for you. But
Yeah.
moving on, Landon, what you got?
All right, so this is one I'm excited to check out. So, is the weirdest Adidas collab on the year going to be this Kerwin Frost Human Chives? So, sneaker reseller Kerwin Frost lands a forum high sneaker collab with Adidas. Kerwin Frost went from reselling sneakers and Supreme to designing his own shoe with a major brand. He impressed and gained the attention of Kanye West and Jerry Lorenzo, and now he has his own design for the Adidas Forum High on the way, labeled Human Chives. So, I mean, this is one of the like hottest models of the year. The Forum High already has had a bunch of collabs on it, like Bad Bunny, Jeremy Scott, and now of course you got this like Forum High dropping with Kerwin Frost. So, I mean, if you've seen the shoes, they're clearly meant to resemble a face. Definitely like
They're insane.
such a funky model. And then what's even crazier is like they come with a detachable pair of blonde hair that you can put onto the shoe. So like a bunch of fans of his have like spoken out and they've been like, Kerwin Frost is like always unapologetically himself. So he's making this collab for him and for people that like, the weird stuff or people that are fans of his.
Right.
So, I mean, it's tough to say like how these shoes are going to do because you got like a full face. You got ears, eyes, everything, even hair that can come with the shoe. And the hair is not, it's not short hair. It is like a long detachable blonde hair that would get super annoying to mess around with. He did collab with Adidas on like a superstar, like a model that was meant to be 5 sizes bigger. So it's not his first time like putting something funky out there. And then he has like a Forum Low collab on the way too. But these are going to retail for $250. So we'll see with that high retail price what they do. But man, what are you thinking about this release right here?
Yeah, dude, I remember when you brought this article up, and I was like, yo, what? You're kidding. You're like, yo, have you seen the face shoe? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? You showed me. This shoe is absolutely
It's an
insane.
ugly face.
It is horrible.
It's an ugly face.
I am not a fan at all. I'm not really sure. I'm not too familiar with Kerwin Frost or his ideology or
He's a reseller.
how he is. He was a reseller.
He was a reseller.
I doubt he's reselling now with Adidas.
I doubt he gets a collab again after this.
I bet you. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it depends on if it sells out. But
we don't know.
I mean,
surely it'll sell out.
One, I'm just not a fan of the face shoe, obviously. Two, I mean, the retail's $250. I mean, they've already released a bunch of collabs on the Forum High and never at $250. I mean, what was the one Jeremy Scott one we got in for? What was it? $200 flat.
The wings. That was cool.
And that was cool, and that did come with like those extra pair of wings,
The set of wings on the side.
and this one is gonna have that hair. So I don't know if it's just a money grab, but
you can
I mean,
take the hair off. So the hair is. If I ever saw someone wearing it with the hair,
I mean,
I'd snag it and run.
I just don't know. I just don't understand the shoe. I mean, it's far beyond me. I mean, if anyone wants to comment about this shoe or just understand like what
anyone
it's about,
who knows more, because his fans kind of spoke out about it on Instagram. I saw, and we're kind of like just kind of explaining it a little further.
Yeah.
I'm not super invested or like know a lot about Kerwin Frost. He's a reseller, but I mean, so is like half the world these days. So it's like,
I mean, mad respect to him to go from reseller selling Adidas shoes to actually working with Adidas
Kanye
and
West,
actually getting
Jerry
one.
Lorenzo got their attention.
Yeah,
Anything you do to
it's
get
impressive.
you get the attention of Kanye West,
right?
You've probably done something right.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, but retail at $250. Personally, I'm just gonna have to pass, not only because of the price, but also it probably has my face on it. So,
oh gosh, you're not that ugly.
But
don't give yourself that.
Yeah, my hair's not removable. But moving on, we got another story. We're gonna talk about Nike revealing the new LeBron James Innovation Center. So this is a new 85,000 square feet building, features special artwork of LeBron and his mom, and also features everything that Nike needs to create, test, and prototype the newest footwear. So I don't know if you've seen these pictures, Landon, but dude, it is insane. I mean, so overall, it's a really cool concept that LeBron, it did get his own center, this new piece. I mean, Nike and LeBron, they're a forever partnership. So it makes total sense from Nike's point of view to do that. And it is really cool what they are adding in. Like they're adding in like a full length basketball court. They're gonna host pickup games. Able to bring in players, test their shoes in a full kind of court setting. And then also like there's a bunch of other stuff for other types of shoes. But my real question that I wanted to bring this up to you, Landon, is you got Nike and LeBron, kind of making this partnership, kind of like similar to the Jordan brand with Jordan, obviously. But then you have Under Armour on the other side with Steph Curry kind of making their Steph Curry brand. Do you see Under Armour kind of doing the same thing when it comes to involving, building out a building or a facility specifically for Steph Curry or naming it after him?
I could see it. Well, the thing is, so Curry just recently kind of broke off into his own section, which is really cool. Like he's got his own Curry Flow brand now with his shoes. Like they're still sponsored by Under Armour, but it's kind of like what Michael Jordan, like you mentioned, Jordan kind of turned into for Nike before branching off. I imagine they're actually LeBron is in the process of like doing that same thing with Nike. So he's starting a Team LeBron, which is going to take athletes and kind of sign him to like his own like LeBron line. Luka Doncic was supposed to be his first one, and he ended up signing with Jordan. LeBron was like recruiting him, trying to get him to do that, and he ended up signing with Jordan. So, LeBron himself, he is like, I would say he's like the biggest person in the NBA right now who has 1 foot in the NBA and 1 foot deeply invested in his like business life.
Oh,
and
for
stuff
sure.
Afterwards.
Yeah, no, he's a great businessman.
Oh, he's like invested in like all these different companies. Another person who does a lot of that is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's pretty big on that. I know he's been like on Acorn and like invested in different.
Shaq is amazing at it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just amazed at kind of what he's able to do off like outside of, I guess it's not outside of basketball because it's all kind of sports related, but like outside of, I mean, a bunch of these dudes in the NBA, they wake up and they breathe whatever team they're on.
Right.
All they focus on is the playbook, their next matchup, their next this. And LeBron, I guess he can afford to do it just because of how good he is. Like, you couldn't be pretty good and then like have any of your focus anywhere else because
Right.
your fans are going to be like, all the fans are going to be like, focused on basketball. You're not playing good enough. You're not doing enough for the team.
Yeah.
Okay, we've established, 10 NBA finals, however many MVPs. Like,
Yeah.
he's done what he needs to do on
Yeah,
the court,
well
and he still
solidified.
is.
Oh yeah.
He's still doing what he's doing on the court. But I'm kind of curious to see, to kind of circle back to your question, if Under Armour will start to do that. Obviously, the whole, like, back to what we were talking about earlier, but Nike's going to have the most money. Like, Nike's the biggest brand. It's the biggest brand out there. There's some other big ones, but it's the biggest of the brands that we're usually going to talk
especially
about on
in
the show.
basketball.
So you can afford to try something new. And if you can afford to try something new that hasn't really been like honed in on by other brands, you're just going to make more money
Right.
because it's probably going to do good. Like, it's probably going to be okay. Anyone releases like a certain like color scheme on their shoe, a university blue for the Skechers, no one cares.
Right.
University blue, anything Nike and Jordan, everyone cares. They
Very
built
true.
up their brand name so they can afford to kind of take some risks. And even if it doesn't end up paying off, but in this one, I mean, I'm assuming that it's going to, because it's just kind of like, it's just a facility. It's nothing like, it's not even that risky. Like, they built it probably because they knew people wanted to use it and had been asking for it, and they obviously have the funds to actually do it for people.
Right.
So,
But do you think it should be named after him, that building? Do you
I
think he owns that and that is his building, or should they have named it after someone else, or just left it as like another building
I
part?
don't know if how that's where you can kind of just split hairs, and some
Right.
people, it doesn't matter. I could tell you what I think. I don't really love LeBron. LeBron's fine, and he's he's a good guy. He does the best that he can, great basketball player and stuff like that. People always are going to say he does too much off the court for basketball. He should just be shut up and dribble.
Right.
You're more of an athlete,
Right.
stuff like that. And then you got the people that his LeBron fans that are going to follow him to Cleveland or to LA or to
Yeah.
Miami.
He's very
And
polarizing.
so he's
for sure.
he's big enough to where it's like, no matter what, you're gonna get. So I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm not like a LeBron hater, so I'm not gonna be someone that's like, oh, LeBron's getting his own thing again. Like, it's really, it makes no major difference to me, to be 100% honest with you. But
Yeah. So we got, sorry, next article, what we got is, you've heard of car insurance, right? You've heard of health insurance.
Right.
Well, now there is sneaker insurance. So there's a guy out there, his name is Phil Terrell, and he is the creator behind SoulSafe. It's an insurance company for a high-priced sneakers. Phil and his wife bought a house, and while going through the house, the previous owner left like 10 pairs of some Jordan signature basketball shoes. And so, Phil knew that these were rare and valuable. And so then what he did was he sought out to find an insurance policy that would actually protect his sneaker collection. And after searching, he did come up empty-handed. And so he decided to create his own, insurance agency called SoulSafe. So Landon, as someone who has way more sneakers than I do, is that something that you would ever think about doing, especially now that you are kind of getting into the more expensive shoes, thinking about like, if there is a fire, is there any way I can protect them? Something like that.
I will say this. I have never really thought about that. But I mean, so this sneaker coverage, is it fire related, or are we talking like someone breaks into your house, someone steals your shoes?
So
Sneaker insurance for that, or are we
not
talking just
too sure?
Yeah, because I feel like there's a really gray area in there where you can claim false like play,
Right.
and you can say like, oh, someone came in and stole my shoes, and hide your shoes
Right.
and be like, I need this much money for my shoes that got stolen. And then you
Yeah.
get that money, you bring your shoes back out because they were underneath your bed.
Yeah, I don't
Or
know.
you
It's
bring your
pretty-
shoes back out because they were at your parents' house.
Right.
And, some type of something happened. I just feel like that's going to be an interesting thing. But, I mean, on the surface, though, you would love that. Like, because, I mean, we have a great life. We haven't really had any of that stuff happen. But someone's house burns down every day. I'm almost sure of it.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but someone's house is probably burning down once a day. I'd say there's, hundreds and thousands of millions of people out there that it's safe to say someone's house is
Well-
probably burning down once a day.
Well, I don't remember, but you remember that hurricane that came and it missed Florida and hit New York
Right.
really badly.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of articles like people's sneakerheads, their basements were
Yeah.
flooded, ruined all their retro stuff.
Because I have, like you said, I've got probably 100 pairs of shoes or so.
Right.
Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but in that area. And say something fast happened, right? We'll go with the fire because that's
Right.
the easiest one. Fire. Maybe I could snag some certain things.
You're gonna go for shoes in a fire?
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, I might get in trouble if I went for shoes first. Obviously, get my dogs, get the living stuff out of there first. But go back for shoes. If my off-white Air Jordans are in there, I'm probably grabbing them on the way out. I can
Oh,
get 2
man.
dogs, 1 pair of shoes. But no, I mean, it sounds interesting.
Like
I
on
don't
paper
know,
sounds good.
but I don't. Yeah, whenever you really break it down, I feel like there's a lot of loose ends.
Yeah, I think it's
that
pretty
gonna-
risky.
I feel like it'd have to be literally a specific and do you require proof?
Yeah,
Like,
so
what is the proof? Like, do you have to see the charred remains of the off-white zip tag?
yeah, I don't
Like,
I don't know. From what I saw, like reading more into the article was like they have like an app that's starting up and you verify the sneakers, so they first make sure it's authentic. And
how much
then,
did you see the pricing for
uh,
like insurance and stuff?
I think
like
it was
that?
like up to, I don't know. I think I read somewhere it said like $250.
a month.
Nah.
Or
Oh,
it
for the
covers
for the
up to,
cost.
like,
I
yeah,
think
what's
I
the-
think it covers up to $250.
It covers up to 250.
I think that's what I read. I don't think it's $250 a month because that's pretty expensive for, I don't know, actually, for sneaker insurance. I don't know what that would be,
I
but
don't think anyone knows other
but-
than whoever just.
but
started it.
but yeah, so looking at it, on paper, I think it's a great idea. I think a lot of sneakerheads out there would do it, but
Right.
logistically,
Especially like if you live in kind of like a sketchy neighborhood where people are breaking into houses and
Right.
there's some bad neighborhoods out there and stuff like that. I can see maybe because we've seen worse things happen outside of sneaker stores on release day. I mean, you
True.
need sneaker insurance on your life whenever you're in some of those drops.
yeah,
Outside of a Supreme store,
Exactly.
outside of a mall, whenever you're trying to pick up a raffle for like even something similar, like something simple. We've seen some like shootings and stuff happen over that stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, you hate to see that, but that's just the world we live
They
in. I
get
mean,
intense for sure.
you just understand that that's kind of what you're up against, but definitely an interesting concept.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of it. I'm kind of. They said they're going to be launching around 2022, so should be interesting to see if there's more news coming up out of it. But moving on to the next article, Landon, what do we got?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So are other brands catching up with Nike and Adidas in women's footwear? Nike and Adidas have a super tight grip on the women's footwear market, but it appears to have loosened a bit. They've ceded shares to brands such as Skechers, Brooks, Vans, and others during the first half of 2021. So, Brooks, obviously, they have a pretty great product out there. They do an equally great job in marketing. And, they always, something I think about Brooks is like they always kind of stay in their lane. They focus on putting out some really high quality shoes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they focus on fashion, quite as much as, of course, Nike is going to with the Off-White collabs, the
Oh,
hype
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, I don't think I'd be willing to put money on there never being an Off-White Brooks collab. Like, it's just not really what they try and do. But they've also expanded their distribution of shoes a lot. So that was one thing for them is they were selling shoes so well that they weren't always able to have enough made at a given time. But then moving down to Skechers, they're bouncing back after some inconsistent years. You would maybe be the Skechers expert. I try to stay away from Skechers as much as possible, but Skechers does a pretty decent job with marketing shoes. They definitely are more on the affordable. You got Brooks, it's more high quality,
Right.
high price type stuff. Skechers tries to keep their shoes as comfortable as possible, but also, they keep the price at a very reasonable spot. And then, Vans' main setback was also inventory issues, but they seem to have fixed that. And they've always had a solid amount of business. It's teeters right on the edge of athletic and fashion. It's not a super athletic shoe, but it's not gonna be a dress up
Yeah.
a boot shoe or
Vans
or,
Vans
something
is a
like
pretty
that.
interesting company because they do sometimes get collabs. Like we've seen
We've seen Off-White
we've
even
seen
with Vans.
yeah. So
Converse? No, maybe not Vans.
Nah, yeah,
no,
not
I'm thinking Converse.
Off-White, but no,
I'm thinking
Vans
Converse.
Vans definitely has gotten some collabs.
They
with,
did NASA. They did
They
NASA.
did.
Remember the Vans
Yeah,
NASA?
yep.
Those
Yeah.
were sweet.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, looking at this, it makes sense. Also, Brooks is definitely great quality, and it just kind of shows that Nike, the end all be all, there are some weaknesses to them. And it's kind of nice that that there is some competition, because it just
Oh, yeah.
forces Nike to even make more and better products for women, or just
But does
footwear
it?
in general.
But does it? Because I mean, if they slack off in one area, is it? Do you think they pay all that close attention to that detail?
I
Like,
would hope so. I
I
would hope
guess you
so.
would hope so.
I would
a
hope
little
so,
bit.
because I mean, next thing you know, if they win, if they lose on women's, it's then they lost on
Is
women's.
it losing, or is it just losing a little, or is it just not winning as much?
I
That's where
mean,
you start to.
we'll see how it comes
And
out.
I left out a few brands. Hoka 1-1. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Hoka
One,
1-1.
One.
And One.
Yeah, Hoka One. Not even joking.
I'm sorry for all the Hoka One fans out there. And then On, that shoe that's kind of got the clouds in their midsole. Both of those did really well last year.
Yeah.
And they've kind of kept the same pace this year from what I saw. So, I mean, there's a few. It seems like, everyone's taking 2 steps forward and Nike's taking 1 step forward.
Right.
But Nike is in the clouds and everyone else is about 6 feet under, starting to come up to the surface.
Right.
That's kind of the way it seems to me.
Yeah.
With Nike, though, because it's Nike and Adidas. So Adidas has kind of slipped off a little bit, too. I mean, I think their issue is they don't put out enough stuff. Like Nike puts out plenty of stuff, I'd say, but they don't focus women's as much as some other brands kind of focus it more.
I think, I don't know. There's a bunch of issues with Adidas that they need to do, and what they really need is they need some solid shoes that aren't collabs, that they can just run colorways against the wall with, like Nike does, because Nike's got great silhouettes.
So they got NMDs. They got NMDs.
NMDs,
and
and I haven't seen NMDs really getting any.
NMDs have slowed down. Ultra Boosts,
yeah.
Ultra Boosts are always.
They're good,
there.
but I mean the 20 Ultra Boost 21, completely different. Definitely more
22's
runner.
coming out soon.
Yeah. Hopefully we get those in. But the 21 was completely runner focused, and it was really more performance based with that giant midsole. It wasn't really fashion.
It wasn't fashion.
So they were kind of going more towards sport, and which is okay, but if you're going to hit that niche, you're going to make sure that you get a casual shoe out there. So by hopefully bringing back an NMD in different colorways, but I don't know. I just don't see, when it comes to the hype and the hype culture, Adidas basic shoes, superstars, any of that. They do have some stuff.
The superstars.
But the superstars aren't anywhere close to a
They both have
low.
they both kind of have their fashion. I would say for Nike, it's the Blazers, the Nike Blazer Low.
Well, yeah,
Or
I
the
mean, they got
SB
the
Blazer
Air
kind
Forces.
of rivals the Vans. The Air Force
Right.
or the Adidas Superstar kind of rivals the Vans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then of course you got your Nike running shoe line. You got your Adidas running shoe line
yeah.
with the Ultra Boost, which kind of combats the Brooks. But the thing is, Nike's just so big. I just feel like these other brands are growing, and Nike just doesn't have to. Nike's just there. Adidas is a little bit different because they're just not. I don't know. Adidas just isn't quite as big of a brand, and I really do think that it is. They just don't put out quite as many models.
Well,
they haven't cemented as many models.
Well, they are very huge over in the European section. I mean, we talked a while ago in Germany. No
That's
one wears
right.
Nike. It's very
Markets change across the world.
It's in the United States at least. It's definitely Nike's at first, and then Adidas a second. But then also what these smaller brands need to do, like the Brooks and Skechers and stuff like that, is they just need to make some better looking shoes, because Nike and Adidas have great looking shoes, but if you look at a Brooks or an Asics or something, they're just so busy. They just look basic. They're not.
I don't
they're
know
not
how
upgraded.
you do that though. I mean, obviously John Geiger didn't do a great job because he got a lawsuit, and you got
Exactly,
I mean, what
it's
what
tough.
is the next model out there? I'm always so curious. What I really loved was whenever their Nike was coming out with the Air Max 270s and the 720s.
Yeah, those were crazy.
Those were crazy, and I'm but ever since ever since I saw the Air Max 720, I don't know if I've seen a new design where I'm dang, that is sick.
Yeah,
That is Air Force sick. That
I
is
think-
Jordan 1 sick. That is.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I have not seen a new model. The New Balance 327. Whenever that came out a few years ago, the New Balance
Oh yeah,
327.
yeah, you got those.
that new model.
Yeah,
I have a
that
pair
was
of
really
those.
cool by New
And
Balance.
I'm that
Those
is
are nice.
sick.
That was nice.
It's a cool design.
That was
but
definitely
it's
good
tough.
by New Balance.
So many shoes out there, and then everyone retros the Jordans, and you're getting collabs on the Air Forces. I think that that hype alone is. And Nike does a good job of having their high price shoes and their low price shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be tough to beat, and they built that, man. So I mean, these other brands, they got to find a way to get their foot in the door.
It's
I
a battle,
I don't
but
know how they're going to do
hey,
it.
at least if they're battling it out, the consumer's gonna win overall. And moving on from
Yeah.
that,
So
though,
moving on, my next story I got is I think it's going to be our last one for today. Is going to be the first ever. We're going to jump it back. The first ever LeBron 9 retro is coming soon, potentially. So images of what is expected to be the first ever retro of the LeBron 9 have surfaced in a colorway dubbed South Coast, which is a term that references the South Pacific coast of California. The pair is expected to hit the shelves sometime this fall and holiday season to celebrate the model's 10th anniversary. So, it has obviously, it's been 10 years since the LeBron 9 released. And this was, I mean, we're talking, I can't believe how long it's been. He was way back on the Miami Heat whenever he was wearing the LeBron 9s. So now, these shoes, they got like some neon green, they got a light blue. That's kind of like what the overall color scheme is for these. One thing that I did notice is that the shape of the shoe kind of resembles the LeBron 19 that's coming out.
yeah.
So like just the overall flow of the
Mhm.
design, it's like really similar to like the LeBron 19 that's releasing soon. So I am excited to check those out. But we have to keep in mind Nike hasn't officially confirmed this release yet. So while it's nice to think that this is coming, hopefully it really is. You never know what's going to fall through or not. But they're retroing LeBrons now. We're set to be the first one. What do you think about that?
See, I don't know. So if they're trying to, if Nike, if I was in Nike and I see what they're trying to do, I think they're trying to do what they're doing with Jordan is obviously retroing Jordans.
But I think this is
But
more performance based,
you
right? So you're
think?
going back to the 9 and you're retroing the 9, and
Do you think
straight
it's
straight up,
performance?
I think it has to be because that's what the retro is. Whenever you retro the shoe, you
Right.
take the same design and you give it the upgraded materials,
Right.
the upgraded cushioning,
Right,
the
the
stuff like that.
technology,
So it's
right.
gonna, for Nike and for LeBron specifically, that's definitely more performance based. I mean, you don't see a lot of casual like LeBron shoes, people just walking around in them,
That's
right?
what they're missing.
Right.
That's what it is.
I
That's what
think
they're
there
missing.
might be a couple. I'd have to go back and kind of track his line year by year. There's probably a few of them in there, but I would say almost the most fashionable line outside of Jordan would maybe be like not Kyrie, maybe no, not Kyrie. Kyrie's got funky stuff, but Kevin Durant. I've heard that they're going to be
Giannis, too.
retroing KD.
Giannis has
Giannis
some.
just started.
Yeah, but
They're
Giannis.
not going to retro the Giannis
No, no,
one.
no,
The
no.
Giannis
I'm
one-
saying
the
no, like
Giannis one's
casual
still-
wearing.
Ah,
The lows, you can definitely rock lows more
that's
casually.
where it kind of has to come down to. So I'm saying like even these Currys, back here, I think they look really great, but it doesn't super look like a shoe. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to keep. If I feel like for casual shoes, you got to keep the midsole under control. Like you got to keep it at a kind of a pretty steady. Puma actually has some shoes that I
Puma.
feel like you could
Yeah,
definitely.
but they just
kinda
don't have a
wear
name
out.
behind it. That's the issue. Puma's got great technology, great style, but they just don't have enough distribution
They're
for.
working on it.
Yeah,
They
they've
are
signed
working on it,
everyone.
man. They
They've
signed
the
every-
whole farm.
They signed every young player, and they're just like, one of these guys got to be good. Well, like one of these guys are going to end up being good. So I mean, we're still kind of waiting to see which one it's going to be. But
I don't know. I like that LeBron 9 retros are coming back, but then also like, are they gonna just rinse and repeat and just go into like Jordan kind of style? But like also the way they started LeBron compared to Jordan, like Jordan shoes, his Jordan 1, even though it was performance, it is now casual. There's no way.
But did we create it to become like what makes it such a great casual shoe?
Well, it's great looking, and it sucks at performance. So it has to go into casual.
That's okay.
Right?
I'll,
But
I'll,
like
gi-
the-
I'll give you that.
But like the LeBron 9s were meant for performance, and they're
Right.
probably built as performance, and they could probably handle performance like wear and tear.
right.
And so they don't look as like a casual. I don't see people are ever gonna walk around.
He
and
low
see-
tops some of his shoes, and whenever you low top the shoe, it obviously gets a little bit more of a.
I don't know. I think Nike has a very big issue ahead of them when Jordan either passes away or something along the lines where they're gonna be in the same boat with everyone else. They just got lucky with Jordan because
The
Curry's
Jordan
next.
brand's gonna live on forever, though. Like it will live
It's
on forever.
not-
It has to.
It will probably in our lifetime, but after that, it's over.
I wonder.
It will be over because we've never seen him play. So I mean, we just
My
know
dad saw him play. What was it?
exactly.
He was finishing up his championship, his last run at his championship the year that I was born. You weren't born yet.
Yeah.
You weren't
So
born yet, so you really weren't.
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting. Back to the article though. It's interesting that they're retroing pairs. We'll see if it's actually real. I mean, once the stock photo's out, if we get them in, we'll definitely be checking them out and comparing them. But yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting. It's an interesting article. We'll see what Jordan and Nike brand do.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's actually going to wrap up this episode of Laced Up. Thank you guys for watching, and just feel free to go ahead and follow, subscribe, give this video a like wherever you're at, and we would greatly appreciate that. But until next episode, peace.